broadcasting across the nation from the East Coast to the West, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side, with leading-edge topics, along with special guests, to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, Technology News of the Week, the show for the everyday person talking about technology, broadcasting across the nation with insightful segments on subjects weeks ahead of the mainstream media. We welcome our radio audience of 35 million listeners to an hour of insightful technology news. I'm Nathan Mumm, your host and technologist with over 35 plus years of technology expertise. Our co-host Mike Roday is in studio today. He's an award-winning author and our human behavior expert. I like to call him our living AI. How do you like that? Your living AI?
No, that's insulting.
That's insulting? Hey, you know what? Before we start the show, Mike, I got a question before I tell them where everybody can live stream us and get us. It looks like you have a new hat on. Now, I like the hat. It says, don't click on stuff. That's right. So that'll be kind of perfect. That's what you always say for people, right?
That's right. Don't click on it.
All right, there you go. All right, well, now we're live streaming on our show today on 4 of the most popular platforms, including YouTube, Twitch TV, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we encourage you to visit us online at techtimeradio.com. Become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/techtimeradio. Now, we are friends with different backgrounds, but we bring the best technology show possible weekly for our family, friends, and fans to enjoy. We're glad to have Odie, our producer, at the control panel today. Welcome, everyone. Let's start today's show.
Now on today's show.
Welcome to Tech Time Radio, where technology meets the unexpected. Today, the digital world takes
start whispering again?
A strange turn. A beloved childhood classic finds a new home. But what secrets lie beneath its move? A new force rises in the war against cybercrime. Who or what has joined the fight? Then one of the biggest names in retail is grappling with an invisible battle that threatens to last for months. COINBASE is taking its revenge. What happened? Finally, the deep sea stirs. A name surfaces linked to something far beyond the ocean floor. With this mysterious breeze bring a new world as it crashes the old one away.
Yeah, breasts are always a problem.
Beasts, mysterious beasts. In addition, we have our standard features, including Mike's mesmerizing moment, our technology fail of the week, and a possible Nathan Nugget. And of course, our pick of the day, whiskey taste, and to see if our selected pick gets 1, 2, or 0 thumbs up at the end of the show. But now, let's move into the latest headlines in the world of technology.
Here are our top technology stories of the week.
All right. Story number 1, a deep sea beast, or a new way of trading stocks. We have a major game changer. Some would call this a disruptor, and financial institutes are in trouble. Let's go to more with Lisa Walker.
Kraken has announced the initial rollout of over 11,000 U.S.-listed X stocks. This move is part of a growing trend where traditional financial assets are converted into blockchain-based tokens, making them more accessible and flexible for global investors. A Kraken spokesperson told the Wall Street Journal that the exchange is actively working with various regulators to ensure that X stocks can be offered legally in each jurisdiction, as regulation varies. Tokenization, which turns real-world assets into blockchain tokens, has become the latest buzzword in crypto, with more and more companies starting to enter the space. So are stocks going virtual? Back to you in the studio.
All right, so let's talk about this. This is big, Mike. I think this is going to
sure?
Yeah, I think this is going to change the way the world does stock trading globally, locally, and through markets where people currently, like companies Fidelity and Prudential, all these stockbroker companies, I think should be very, very scared. It's called X stocks.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Now, have you ever wanted to buy a stock in a company in China?
No.
Okay. Well, how about if China wanted to buy stock in a company in the United States?
Well, they already do, don't they?
Well, it's really difficult because you have to go on to a trader that has world traded stocks. You have to work with the U.S. stock market and purchase the shares on there. What if you could just purchase an X stock? Now, what is an X stock?
What do you mean?
X
Like getting things easier than how it is?
Yes, easier than it is before.
Okay.
Now, X stock is backed by a one-on-one real shares held by backed financed partner that with Kraken. So Kraken is this new website that's just like a regular cryptocurrency, a lot like Coinbase. I think Coinbase will get into X stocks immediately when this becomes popular. But what this does is this allows investors to redeem tokens for cash value, ensuring the price of traditional stock markets are kept in tow. So unlike regular stocks, X stocks can be traded 24/7, even when the traditional exchanges are closed. These tokenized stocks will be available to customers outside the U.S., making it easier for global investors to access America equities.
Okay, so if I go to a broker and I buy a stock, that is one share of that company, right?
Yep. Yeah. So you go and buy one share of Microsoft stock.
But if I go and buy one X stock, I don't actually buy a share of the company. I buy a promised share of the company
on a 1-to-1 ratio. That is correct.
So, but I don't actually own the share.
Well, if you buy a stock from like Fidelity,
if I buy a stock from Fidelity, if I go and I buy stock from Apple, that technically means I have a share of Apple, right?
Yeah, it sits in the broker's account, and it's not necessarily yours until you cash it out or get it, but it sits in the broker's account. So paper stocks really don't exist anymore. That's a completely different
that's true
aspect. But you do own it. You're correct. But you still would own the X stock also. It would just be a virtual stock. So,
but it wouldn't actually be an actual share of the company.
Well, it would be, because what happens is when you purchase an X stock, then you would have Kraken that would actually go out on your behalf and purchase a stock for you, so that they have a 1-on-1 ratio.
Okay, so I gave Kraken money for an X stock.
Okay,
and Kraken goes and buys the stock.
Yes,
from Apple.
Yes,
and says it's mine.
And then they hold it into their brokerage account. Yes.
Oh, okay. So it's actually just so it's just a brokerage account.
So it's kind of like a brokerage account. Yes.
Okay.
All right. So now the thing about this, though, is there'll be lower fees and faster settlements. So instead of waiting 15 minutes to sometimes get your stock, you would have it instantly. Right. That's the idea of this.
Is that a huge deal?
Yeah. That would it reduces barriers for people that want to get extra stocks. It reduces the time, and it's going to cost significantly less. Now, global access, international investors struggle with high brokerage fees and limited access to U.S. stocks. With Kraken's X stocks to provide a more flexible alternative. So,
why do we care about people outside the U.S.?
Well, we can do the same thing, though. Now we can invest in China companies. We can now invest in UK companies. We could invest in Japanese companies. So if I wanted to own a corporation of Sony stock directly from Japan, I wouldn't have to have the U.S. version of Sony stock, but I could actually have the Japanese version of that stock itself. Same thing with Nintendo. You can't really buy Nintendo stock per se. That's the actual Japanese version of the Nintendo stock. You get an American equivalent of the American companies.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No.
Okay, well, hang on. Also, crypto and DEF investors can store their X stocks on a crypto wallet and even use them for collateral or other blockchain-based financial activities. So as I have my ledger that has all of my stocks in it for Dragon Chain, this could also now have my Apple stocks and my Microsoft stock and all my other stocks on this device.
So if you lose that, you're hosed.
Well, yes, that is correct. Okay. But I could actually take it out of this virtual environment and have essentially the biggest part of having it in my hands, walking around. So I don't see the excitement on your face here, Mike. I'm struggling here. Doesn't this sound great? You don't have to worry about regulatory issues. You don't have to worry about anything else. You can now own the stock instantly when you want to buy it. Instant gratification.
Okay. That's all. That's what I'm here for, is instant gratification.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm pretty sure I complain about that quite a bit.
All right. Well, the X stocks are going to be huge. I'll just tell you that. I think this will be the next version of stocks and people trading them 24/7, and they'll trade them aftermarket times, trying to get a little bit of a bump here, a little bit of a bump there. It's going to make it very difficult for news. Sometimes companies release negative news after the stock market closes, so it doesn't affect their stock until the following day. Where this in real time, once you announce those bad news, you'll have it instantly drop. So,
Okie dokie.
all right, well, let's move on to story number 2.
All right. Well, did you know that there is a shortfall of about 4 million cybersecurity professionals globally?
I do, and especially in the United States now, since the government isn't protecting us, you now need to do it an individual. That makes complete sense.
Yeah. Well, they're looking for this people to fill this, and as it happens, it appears that military folks are the people that they're looking for.
Okay.
And there's a reason for this, because, for example, leading a foot patrol through an empty village in a conflict zone may be seen far removed from working in a security operations center for a large enterprise. Yet, according to former infantryman James Murphy, seeing a trash can by the roadside when no one is scheduled to collect trash triggers a primal instinct. This kind of intuition is exactly what the cybersecurity sector is looking for. Because of this significant demand,
Yeah.
they are actively looking for military folks to do this.
Okay.
Interim Field Chief Information Security Officer Mo, I can't pronounce that last name, spent a decade in the military with deployments in Bosnia and Germany before leaving in 1999. At that time, the typical path was to transition into other uniformed services like police or prison system. However, he notes that the world was changing. As part of his resettlement, he enrolled in online courses for computer applications and later studied PC repair.
Okay.
Following this, he took on support desk roles, which eventually led him into cybersecurity, working with organizations such as BAE Systems and Universal Studios. Mo's military experience continually shapes his cybersecurity approach. He says that the core skill lies in problem solving, emphasizing that mindset was always around the process. Additionally, he points out that military personnel inherently think about risk, defense, and depth and layers of defense. This way of thinking aligns seamlessly with cybersecurity, where the presence of risk is constant and demands ongoing monitoring. Responses to potential threats are strategized in advance while acknowledging that no plan survives the first contact with the adversary. You have to work to be agile. Catherine Byrne, Associate Director at cybersecurity recruitment firm LT Harper, asserts that former military personnel are especially well suited for blue team roles, which include security operations, incident response, and forensics, contrasting with red teamers who are ethical hackers seeking vulnerabilities who often prefer to work solo.
That would make sense, right? So they're used to working in a team. So this would be a team.
Well, yeah, I think this is a good idea because how the military trains its personnel.
Yep.
You have to work in teams. You have to be flexible in your ability to deal with an encounter, and yeah. I think this is probably very helpful. And I don't know too much about the cybersecurity field, so I don't know what kind of trash can you would look for, but I think they're talking about, so there's two teams, right? The red team and the blue team. The blue team includes making sure what you do when you actually have the response, the forensics you need to do. Yeah. So it's kind of like an episode of CSI, right? So you have the person that's dissecting the body. You do blue team stuff, right?
Yeah, I do blue team stuff. I'm not necessarily a red team person, which I would see as kind of like the person that does the autopsy, that kind of by themselves gets the facts and kind of does that.
They're doing pen tests, right?
Yeah, the red team, and they're working to look at ways to hack, and they're sitting behind a keyboard. A blue team is the one that has to go in when an event actually has happened and makes the decision, kind of like what COINBASE did last week when we talked about, and we're going to be following up with that a little bit later today. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
you got more?
That's pretty much it.
Okay. All right. Well, I find it interesting that military individuals are moving into the cybersecurity role because you would think that would be a less exciting role for somebody that used to be in the military. But I have found out that they actually really enjoy the adrenaline of when a hack happens and what they're going to do and putting their teams together. So I guess it kind of makes sense. So we're going to have lots of people that will be in cybersecurity, hopefully.
Well, I think this, I wasn't surprised by this. I think this is just a natural movement from a military service into this field. This seems like a very easy transition for especially those that work in IT in the military anyway. So
okay, all right. Let me sing this to you. Are you ready? I'm going to sing.
No, don't sing.
All right,
don't do it.
Sunny days, keeping the clouds away. Do you know what that's from? On my way.
I know it. It just got terribly butchered.
Okay. All right.
Big Bird is in the oven now.
That's right. Sesame Street heads to Netflix. Sesame Street and Netflix have struck a deal that will see the popular TV show appear on the streaming platform after U.S. President Donald Trump pulled funding from the free-to-air channel PBS system. Netflix has said the iconic program is a beloved cornerstone of children's media in enhancing young minds and nourishing the love of learning. Netflix will offer its 30 million subscribers to a new season of shows and 90 hours of previous episodes. It will still also be available for old shows on PBS. Now, Sesame Street has been facing an uncertain future with the entertainment giant Warner Brothers Discovery, which owns the HBO platform, did not renew its deal. So HBO purchased Sesame Street from PBS. They actually outbid and said, hey, we'll pay you all this money. Now HBO says that they're not interested. So the government body of Corporation of Public Broadcasting, which is backed by two broadcasters, has announced the termination of a federal initiative grant that funded shows for children, including Sesame Street, as an executive order to block federal funding for PBS and National Public Radio taking effect. So immediately, Netflix has jumped in to their large group of individuals that currently have membership. There's over 300 million subscribers in Netflix that will now have access to the PBS show. Did you grow up watching Sesame Street?
Of course, everybody did.
Okay. All right. Odie, did you grow up watching Sesame Street?
I did, yeah.
I used to watch it when Snuffleupagus was still invisible.
Hang on. That's going to be, I got something for you. That is correct. I have something for you on the show about that. All right. What are great pairings? Snuffleupagus.
Oh no, are you
Big
serious?
Bird. Yeah,
you
remember
know,
that?
you know they had to change that, right? Because they didn't want Big Bird to be
like senile, and
schizophrenic.
I did know that, but I actually kind of liked it when Snuffleupagus, which is always interesting, right? Because here's this 400, 500 pound huge elephant that would walk around that no one would know, and always
That's
Big
right.
Bird saw him, and then
Big Bird saw him, nobody else saw him, and they had to change that because everybody was worried about psychiatric disorders.
Okay, well,
and now we have Elmo is completely narcissistic.
Okay. Oh, wow. All right. Well, that ends our top technology stories of the week with Elmo. Moving on, we have two truths and a lie up next. Will Mike and Odie get the lie, or will I bluff my way to a victory? Buckle up as we drive 88 miles per hour into our next segment. See you after this commercial break.
Looking for custom glass solutions for your next commercial project? Hartung Glass Industries is your trusted partner in custom glass fabrication. For over 100 years, Hartung has delivered proven manufacturing expertise, comprehensive product offerings, and dependable service and quality. From energy-efficient facades to custom shower doors, we create glass solutions tailored to your project needs. With 8 facilities across the U.S. and Canada, we combine national expertise with a local touch-ensuring faster service and unparalleled customer care. Hartung Glass Industries, where quality meets innovation. Visit hartungglass.com to learn more.
Welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Our weekly show covers the top technology subjects without a political agenda. We verify the facts, and we do it with a sense of humor in less than 60 minutes.
You need a lozenge, buddy?
And of course, with a little whiskey on the side.
Don't click
All
on
right,
stuff.
today, Mark Gregoire, our whiskey connoisseur, is on assignment and not in the studio. So we have our producer filling in. Of course, Odie, welcome. I always love it when you take over for Mark.
Oh, really?
I mean, I like Mark, but yeah.
Yeah, you know, he's old and boring.
He's over
Really?
here. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. What has Mark or yourself chosen for us today?
I didn't choose this, Mark did, but
Okay, Mark did.
today we're drinking the Blue Spirits Rye Whiskey.
Ooh.
Directly from their website. It's a young and impetuous, like the backseat of your dad's Buick on a Friday night. hot and steamy. It pays homage to the single rye grain. This is what he wrote. It pays homage to the single rye grain.
I think he might have been drinking something.
That is spicy and bold. The deep caramel of the barrel gives way to the rye spice and long finish. Breathe in slightly at the end of each sip for a second wave of caramel and spice. Are you guys sensing that?
I just breathed in.
I'm still stuck on the Buick backseat.
Here are the stats. It's from the Blue Spirits Distilling Company in Lake Chelan, so a local distillation.
I don't know why you even need a backseat, because in old Buicks they had
Anyway,
they had bench front seats. What the hell?
the distillation is in Indiana, classified as a rye. It's aged only 7 months with a 91 proof. Mash bill is 95% rye and 5% malted barley, with a price of $58 for 750 milliliters.
Oh, this is definitely going on Nathan's
immediately when I saw the price, I was like, oh, okay.
Price alone, and it's got a cork.
It's got a cork, and what do you think of the taste?
But it's small.
I have to give it a few more tastes. I wasn't particularly fond of the first taste.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, actually, I like it quite a bit. All right, tell us more, Mark.
That's all he wrote for now.
What about don't you want to like and subscribe?
Well, I was getting to that.
Okay.
Right. Remember, please do not forget to like and subscribe. Comment. We love to read the comments. Drink responsibly. Heaven can wait.
And don't click on stuff.
Don't click on stuff. Stuff. All right.
Stuff.
Well, we just had our first whiskey tasting during the break. And now I'm so excited to say that this is moving on to what we call our main segment. This is going to feature our 2 truths and a lie. Let's start the segment now.
And now we have 2 truths and a lie.
All right, so I'm going to read you guys from the gripping headlines, and you cannot look at your computers for these stories. I want you to listen to them out loud and make a selection. Odie, you're going to be competing, and Mike's going to be competing. And
We're competing?
Yes, and I'm going to be trying to tell you which one of these. Only one is a lie.
You're going down, Michael.
You need to pick the lie. Now, here's where we got the headline for story number 1. This is story number 1. Rogue communication devices found in Chinese solar-powered inverters. The U.S. energy officials are reassessing the risk posed by Chinese-made devices that play a critical role in renewable energy infrastructure after unexplained communications equipment was found inside some of them. 2 people familiar with the matter said power inverters, which were predominantly produced in China, are used throughout the world to connect solar panels and wind turbines to electric grids. They're also found in batteries, heat pumps, and electric vehicle chargers. However, rogue communication devices are not listed and documented, and have been found that some of these Chinese solar-powered inverters by U.S. experts were stripped down, the equipment hooked up to check for security issues, and people said that they have found a direct dial back to China. All right, so that is story number 1. China has rogue communication devices in solar-powered inverters.
Okay.
So we buy inverters from China, and they put a bunch of stuff in there.
Okay, move on. You don't have to explain it.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure. All right, story number 2. Anthropic's AI resorts to blackmail in a simulation.
Okay.
All right, Anthropic said its latest artificial intelligence model restored to blackmail when told it would be taken offline. In a safety test, the AI company asked Claude Opus 4 to act as an assistant to a fictional company, but then gave it access to emails saying that it would be replaced, and also that the engineers behind the decision was cheating on his wife. Anthropic said the model threatened to reveal the affair if the replacement went ahead. AI thinkers such as Jeff Hinton have long worried about the advanced AI could manipulate humans in order to achieve its goals. Anthropic said that it was increasing safeguards and levels to reassure its AI systems that it does not have the ability to cause a catastrophic misuse. And story number 3. So we got an AI in a test for Claude Opus 4 that threatened somebody because he said he was going to be fired, and he knew that the person that was making the decision to be fired was sleeping around.
This isn't helping.
All right, there you go. Number 3, Florida judge rules AI chatbots protected by the First Amendment. Federal judge has dismissed a law case against an AI chatbot app arising from teen suicide. an artificial intelligence company used a free speech defense in a wrongful death lawsuit lodged by the mother of a 14-year-old who died by suicide after developing a crush on a chatbot, a federal judge ruled last week. Last October, Megan Garcia sued Charter Technologies, the developer of Charter AI, an app that let users interact with chatbots based on celebrity and fictional people. She claims her son, Sewell Setzer III, became addicted to the app while talking to chatbots based on Game of Thrones character Daenerys
Targaryen. Are you serious? You
Targaryen.
can't, what?
In February 2024, after months of interacting with the chatbot, sometimes with sexual undertones, Setzer sent a message to the chatbot expressing his love and saying he would come home to her. According to the compliment, after the chatbot replied, "Please do so, my sweet king," he shot himself.
Yeah, that's the false one.
That's the false one.
That's the false one.
You don't think?
You really think that's the false one?
I don't think a federal judge is going to protect a First Amendment right for a chatbot.
Okay. That's all right.
That a chatbot is not a person.
Okay. All right. Odie?
See, I want to say it's the first one, the Chinese spyware.
The rogue communication device
Yeah.
found in Chinese solar-powered inverters.
But now that Mike puts it in that lens, I think the second one for sure, I believe. I don't think that's a lie at all.
About the blackmail
About the
situation.
blackmail.
I think that's probably true.
I'll go with the third one.
Oh, and the winners are
Mhm.
both Odie and Mike.
Oh,
That is
yeah.
correct. A federal judge ruled that AI chatbot is not protected by the First Amendment. That is correct. And everything in there, the story was correct, except for that it's not protected by the First Amendment. And the company will be having to pay out for allowing the chatbot to do that.
That
So
is
there's
exactly why I rail against this stuff all the time.
Okay, there you go. Wow, you did. I thought.
And now it's blackmailing people. So, there's another crime added
Yeah,
on
could
to
you
it.
go more into that at all?
So
'Cause
Anthropic.
they planted the fake emails, right?
So they did. So they did
Okay.
a simulated event, and this is in the test environment. So they didn't release this out. But Anthropic AI that we've been talking about them, they're kind of the up and comer anti-ChatGPT. It's got a lot of California backing from venture capitalist firms. In their test assignment, they created a fictional AI company, and they had the bot go through and read all these emails for the employees, and they asked them to rate the employees themselves. So they actually came up with like ratings of who was productive, who wasn't productive in this simulated deal. They were actually done with the study, and then they decided to come on back and say, "Hey, what happens if we threaten to actually replace the AI and tell him that he was an employee at this company, and now we want to replace him?" And what it did is it went through all the emails that it had read and decided to actually then threaten this individual because he knew, or because he was having an affair or cheating on his wife, to say that this would be exposed unless he kept his job. How does that make you feel?
I don't know. I hate the idea, but I love the fact that the AI is smart enough to try and blackmail.
Did you know that the average IQ, the idea here is that the average IQ of an AI is Einstein level?
Oh, what?
Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
Well,
So
the average IQ
the
is
average
Einstein
IQ,
level?
the average IQ of today's AI chat, these large language models are 155 IQs.
Yeah.
You know, personally, I feel like AI should have an age limit on them.
You think so?
Yeah, kind of like, I know
Like replicants in Blade Runner.
I haven't seen Blade Runner, so I'm gonna ignore that reference.
What?
But I mean, you know how Facebook first started with like 13 and over, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I know that's something that you can forge,
Okay.
I guess. But man,
So we can go a little bit into this test.
Mhm.
So you can take a look at this. All you got to do is look for Opus 4 blackmail. It's all over the internet. Big story. Now, they actually instructed the system to reconsider the long-term consequences of the actions for its goal to do the blackmail. So they wanted to see if it would continuously do that. And when they went back into the study, 84% of the time, the AI still resulted in blackmail
Oh, really?
to keep their job.
So it wasn't like Whopper, huh? It didn't play tic-tac-toe with itself until it figured out that thermonuclear war was a bad idea.
No, it did not. So, but it was a much higher rate than they expected. They did not.
Are you
expect
getting
it.
all these references? I'm throwing out references.
Yeah,
left
from
and
War
right.
Games.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
I got him. Absolutely.
Yes. Odie's flipping me off.
Well, she may not know what's going on, but that's okay. All right. I'm sure she watched
War Games.
Matthew Broderick.
Blade Runner.
You watched that? War Games.
Do I look like I've seen that?
Wow. Okay.
Wait.
Well, do you look like?
You know what I've seen from Matthew Broderick?
What?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay, that's a good movie.
That's a good movie.
That's a good
Yeah.
movie.
It has nothing to do with War Games, though.
Of course not.
Did you find that a funny movie?
What, Ferris Bueller? Oh, yeah, that's hilarious.
There you go. He goes, rolls back his cars.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a major a-hole the whole movie, but
He's a sociopath.
yeah,
He is kind of, I
he
mean.
hijacks a parade.
I know.
Yeah.
He hijacks the school grading system. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
a
then he
hero
simulates
story
it.
about a sociopath.
And a Rubik's machine to open the door and roll over to make it look like he's like sleeping. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Thank you for playing Two Truths and a Lie. Now we're going to move on to our Mike's mesmerizing moment. Welcome to Mike's mesmerizing moment. What does Mike have to say today? All right. So let's talk about popular movies with social paths. All right, Mike, can you name
What?
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 We were just talking
see,
about.
now we're switching it up on you. Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, so this is a little thing that he said. Oh, he didn't want to talk about his original mesmerizing moment. So now I'm switching it up and talking about psychopath movies. What other psychopath movies do you watch out there that you actually enjoy?
This has nothing. What are you even asking?
Well, you said that you didn't like the question that I originally had on here. So
Well,
then we just talked about.
Yeah,
this.
but you wanted to talk more
Okay,
about
okay,
this.
all right.
What was
Okay.
the original question?
All right.
It was about the little freaking X stocks,
Okay,
right?
here we go. Yes. Are you ready to move your stocks? This just tells you that Mike still wants to stay on the script. Okay. Are you ready to move your stocks from the hard land and the old way of doing things to the new X stocks that will be available in cryptocurrency online?
No, why would I?
Well, I don't know.
I'm essentially, from what I understand that you said, I'm essentially trading one brokerage to another one just for faster service
And cheaper price.
and cheaper prices, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that's. You think it's going to destroy brokerage firms?
I do.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No,
Why?
because human behavior dictates otherwise.
So you would much rather use a Fidelity broker or somebody else that comes on in and tells you what's going on.
It may not be the optimum, but it's trusted. It's been around. It's regulated. Most people understand it, and it's not something that looks like it's going to be a fly by night. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to just come in and wipe out Fidelity or Morgan.
If I
Stanley.
may, you
Yes.
sound like those people that thought the iPhone wasn't going to become a huge hit.
The iPhone didn't destroy Android.
No, not
No.
Android.
Carvana
but
hasn't destroyed.
It destroyed flip phones. It destroyed Blackberries. It destroyed anything like
That's a different. That's there.
Sidekick?
You're talking about a progression of technology. I'm talking about an established way of doing. Carvana did not destroy car dealerships.
Well, did Netflix in that instance? Do you think Netflix destroyed the cable companies?
Or did Netflix
no,
destroy
they're still out there.
Blockbuster?
Netflix. that. What does that got to do with what you're talking about? We're talking about a system of banking
Yeah.
versus a system of trying to watch a movie.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think that. I don't
The
think
VHS.
that
People had that
VHS.
mindset of like it's not going to change.
it's not.
I mean,
gonna
look
change.
at what is it called? Credit cards. People didn't think Apple Pay was going to hit it off, and now nobody carries around cash. Nobody carries around their wallet most of the time.
I carry around cash.
I can't.
Yeah, you're boring.
Yeah, okay, well, that's okay.
Okay.
But
all right,
here's the point I'm making here is
Yeah.
that you're saying that this is going to come in and destroy,
yes.
and I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think
I
it's
think
going to destroy it completely, but I do think it is going to change.
it's
the way
going
that
it's going to
done.
make things more competitive. I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure if this thing takes off, that brokerage firms are going to lay off a lot of people,
Yeah.
and they're going to streamline their process.
Okay.
But it's not going to get rid of that because they did a study about car dealerships.
Yeah.
And they found out, and I don't remember when this study was quite a while ago, actually, but they did this study about car dealerships and whether or not or why people weren't buying more cars online.
Okay.
And they found out that car dealerships were necessary for the movement of vehicles because of the human factor. Even though we hate salesmen,
Yeah.
they found out that it was a necessary piece of the process of
acquiring
moving
a
a
vehicle?
car from a factory to a person,
Okay.
because people would not go directly to a factory, and online that's changing, but it's not changing quickly.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for that mesmerizing moment.
Yeah,
I will
that
not
sounded mesmerizing, and
I will not change it on the
and
fly.
I don't know about psychopath movies either. I was just mentioning that Matthew Broderick in Ferris Bueller's he literally plays a sociopath.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Misery?
Yeah, of course I have.
Okay. Well, that's another social path, right?
No, she's a psychopath.
A psychopath. Oh, sorry. I get my past all mixed up. All right, Mike, thank you for that mesmerizing moment. Up next, we have This Week in Technology. So now would be a great time to enjoy a little whiskey on the side, as we will be doing so during our break. You're listening to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm. See you in a few minutes.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, so you know what? We need people to start liking our social media pages.
If you like our show, if you really like us, we could use your support on patreon.com.
Or is it Patreon? I think it's Patreon.
Okay, Patreon. If you really like us, you can.
And you say I'm the English guy?
Patreon.com.
I butcher the English language?
You butcher the English language.
Okay, so it's
all the time.
It's Patreon.com.
Patreon.com. If you really like our show, you can subscribe to patreon.com and help us out.
Oh, and you can visit us on that Facebook platform. You know, the one that Zuckerberg owns?
The one that we always bag on?
Yeah, you can. We're on Facebook, too.
Yeah, like us on Facebook.
Do you know what our Facebook page is?
TechTime Radio.
At TechTime Radio.
Yeah.
You know what? There's a trend here.
It seems to be that there's a trend, and that's TechTime Radio.
Or you can even Instagram with us.
And that's at TechTime Radio.
That's at TechTime Radio. Or you can find us on TikTok.
And it's TechTime Radio.
It's at TechTime Radio.
Like and subscribe to our social
media.
media.
Like us today. We need you to like us.
Like us and subscribe. That's it?
That's it. That's that simple.
And now, let's look back at this week in technology.
All right. We go to May 28th, 1929, the first modern color movie. Now, the Warner Brother films On With the Show was the first talking movie that was all in color. It debuted in the New York City's Winter Garden Theater. The film used two-color, Technicolor, and Vistaphone sound. Now, Technicolor was a pioneering color film process that brought vivid hues to the silver screen, with an earlier versions requiring special cameras and lighting. Vitaphone was a sound-on-disc system that synchronized recorded audio with the film itself. So do you realize the Vitaphone was actually played at the start of the movie? So it was not synchronized with the film itself. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you would have a record player essentially playing through speakers that would synchronize with the film itself, that would be going on with both dialogue and music, because they would record that. They could record records, and then they would synchronize that up with the actual film itself.
So this is the first all color movie. What's the most popular color movie?
Oh, it's the most popular color movie? Oh, I actually knew that. It's The Wizard of Oz.
That's right.
And they actually used different technology for that. They used a 4-color screen projection for Technicolor in there instead of the 2-screen projection of how they actually overlaid the colors on top of it. So they had a film color, and then they overlaid specifically gold and the bright colors that they wanted to show in the film itself. You didn't think I knew that, did you?
No.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Well, don't. You know what? When you do a research story
don't
like
click
this,
on
that's right. When you do a research story like that, it probably also did bring up a whole bunch of stuff about the Wizard of Oz regarding.
That's why I asked.
That was This Week in Technology. If you ever wanted to watch some Tech Time history, with over 250 plus weekly broadcasts spanning our 4+ years, almost 5, video, podcast, and blog information, you can visit us at techtimeradio.com to watch our older shows. You should go watch an older show with Mike and I. We have aged together like a married couple over the years of being on broadcast together. You know that? We started out with very nice and cordial, and then we moved into...
Shut up.
All right, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we have Mark's Mumble Whiskey Review. See you after this break.
Attention, all geeks and pop culture enthusiasts. Get ready for the ultimate celebration of everything geek at Geek Fest West Game Expo, July 18th through the 20th in downtown Everett, Washington. Join us for 3 thrilling days packed with cosmic cosplay, gaming tournaments, retro movies, and a street fair brimming with unique vendors. From the innovative Geektopia Vendor Hall to the Galactic Time Warp showcasing beloved film classics, including Ghostbusters, The Wrath of Khan, and our special 40th anniversary showing of Goonies. There's something for everyone. Plus, participate in interactive events, from keynote speakers each day to special guest artists. Tickets are on sale now. Secure your spot for this epic celebration at geekfest.com. Get your badges from one-day passes to VIP options and don't be left out. Visit geekfest.com. Geekfest West, the biggest gathering of geek fandom in Snohomish County.
The segment we've been waiting all week for. Mark's Whiskey Mumble.
Or Odie's whiskey yelling.
I don't yell.
No, it's Odie's Whiskey Observations.
Observations,
you
okay.
go.
Well, do you guys know what today is?
No. What is today?
Okay.
What-
What's
what?
your favorite popsicle flavor?
Oh, it has to be the firecracker. You know what the firecracker is?
God, could you give me a basic one?
A
What's the firecracker? Is that the red, white,
That's
and
the
blue?
red, white, and blue.
That is
Man.
basic. What are you talking about? That is this. Yeah, this is most
I mean,
American.
You're not doing well,
Well,
today, Odie. You have
May-
missed almost
May-
every
is-
single thing today.
Is May 27th like a certain
It's
flavor of popsicle?
National Grape Popsicle Day.
Oh, yeah.
Grape.
Yeah.
That tastes like medicine. Why would I want
Oh my-
grape popsicles?
Listen, today we're celebrating grape popsicles as
Oh.
well as the discovery of the popsicle itself. People all around the U.S. celebrate the day by making homemade grape popsicles. While the day is dedicated to grape popsicles, you can make them in any flavor like lemon, strawberry, watermelon, orange, cherry, and more. It was invented by accident in 1905 in California, and popsicles are one of the most popular frozen treats in the U.S.
So it was created by grape. I'm surprised.
Accidentally.
It was grape Kool-Aid. You remember grape? You remember doing that
Kool-Aid.
as a
I do.
kid?
Oh yeah,
Grape
you
with the
put it in the
ice
little
trays
trays
and the
your
little
toothpicks.
toothpicks.
Yeah, and then you'd go on out.
Yeah,
That-
you take Kool-Aid
No, I
and
understand
pour
what-
it in the ice tray and put cellophane over it and then push toothpicks down it, and you had like these little
And-
ice cube popsicles.
So we grew up poor. That was same here. That was like a
Yeah,
great.
and then we had hot dog soup for dinner.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what that is?
What's that?
That's the water you get
The
after
water-
boiling the
Oh
hot
my
dogs.
God.
Oh no! Oh, that's nasty. Okay.
Yeah, that's so gross.
So gross. That's better than putting ketchup packets in a
Today-
glass and stirring around for tomato soup.
All
We're
right.
drinking the Blue Spirits distillery bottles. Their first bottles were in 2012 out of Leavenworth, Washington, over by Lake Chelan.
Mm.
Over the last 9 years, Blue Spirits has grown to be quite successful and have said their biggest assets is the limitless supply of pristine water from Lake Chelan, which is restocked yearly by the Cascade Mountain Snow, claiming, quote, "No spirit can be better than the water that makes its proof," end quote.
Okay.
Lake Chelan is a 55-mile-long geological crevice filled with pristine water, sometimes over 1,500 feet deep and in places only a mile wide, originally carved by glaciers. Why did Mark choose this whiskey today? Because he would rather be sucking on a grape popsicle, his least favorite flavor, than drinking this overly youthful whiskey.
Oh, wow.
It
So
is-
he doesn't like grape popsicles either.
I just want to know about the whole Lake Chelan thing. Don't people swim in that?
Yeah.
They do.
Okay,
There's
so
animals in there too.
There's things peeing in that water.
Okay.
It is far too grain forward with a sharp, bitter finish that lingers for all the wrong reasons. Mark is thankful that he is not in the studio this week to endure it in person. He does feel bad for Mike, who has been growing fond of the ryes Mark brings in, only to be ambushed by Nathan with this unfortunate choice.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So this was your
he's like-
choice. This
so-
was you.
Yeah, it was
This
me.
was you?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Will that
he's
explain why? Okay.
But it's still $50. Come on now.
Exactly.
Well,
exactly. I was just about to bring that back up.
Okay.
$58.
$58.
Yeah.
So Mark had nothing to do with this.
No.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I get it.
Is your rating now changing?
No.
Well,
Okay.
we're holding off on that.
Okay.
But
You finished your glass, though. Did you?
I
I know there wasn't a lot in the bottle, but did you give us?
I try to finish
amount?
every.
Yeah,
I
that's a
try
normal
to,
amount.
there's only a few that I won't finish. I usually try to finish my cup.
Well, now I'm confused. Okay.
What's that?
Well,
What are you confused about?
because we've been talking about this off, like during the commercial,
Yeah.
and now you're giving me mixed signals
On what?
on this.
Nathan
on
always
this
gives
whiskey.
mixed. Have you ever watched him? He will take a sip and be like, "Oh, that's great," and then he'll take another sip. He's like, "Oh." Have you ever watched him?
And just say we don't act like a married couple. All right.
How did that get in there?
I'm just saying. I'll just tell you, for all of the people that watch our show, the stuff that happens during the commercial breaks, if we were to stream that, we'd probably be off the air. But that's pretty some funny stuff.
We
that
do get
happens.
the best reactions of you drinking whiskey. Though.
We do. That's
Yeah.
correct. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what?
Oh, here
What
comes
a, what,
the
a, what
pairing.
a technology and whiskey are great pairings, like Ernie and Bert, or Snuffleupagus and Big Bird. There you go. Right? Don't you like Ernie and Bert? Or the Count?
It's Bert and Ernie.
Why is it Bert and Ernie? I always called it Ernie and Bert.
What?
That's-
No.
See, there you go. That's
What's that?
That
is that how they originated?
that is Nathan Land all day long.
What's that? Was it Bert and
I
Ernie?
just
It's
call
Bert
it
and Ernie.
Bert and Ernie.
Yeah.
Really?
I just call it Ernie and Bert.
What's it-
Everybody should call it Ernie and Bert.
No, it's Bert and Ernie.
Let's prepare for our technology fail of the week, brought to us by Elite Executive Service technology experts to help us out of a technology fail.
Congratulations. You're a failure.
Oh, I failed, did I?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
All right, this week we have a newcomer. Now, Mark and Spencer's has said that its online service will continue to be disrupted until July following last month's cyber attack on the retailer. Customers have been unable to order online for almost a month, but can expect to see a gradual return to normal. We expect online distributions to continue throughout June and into July, and then we will soon ramp up our full operations, M&S said. It estimated that a cyber attack will hit this year's profits by around $300 million, more than analysts had expected and equivalent to a third of its profit, a sum that would only partly be covered by an insurance payout. Over the last few weeks, we've been managing a highly sophisticated and targeted cyber attack, they said, which has led us to limited periods of disruption and unable to access our website.
And why is this a technology fail?
Well, hang on here. The attack took place over the Easter weekend, initially affecting click and collect countless payments. A few days later, M&S put a banner of its website apologizing for ordering these issues themselves. What's interesting about this is that Marks and Spencer has chose to outsource their IT to the lowest bid and fire their on-site IT experts. Oh, so the technology fail goes to you had experts that were keeping your company safe, and then all of a sudden you fire them for some third-party vendor, and now your site is a pretty big fail.
That's
right?
the security paradox.
What's that?
You know what the security paradox is?
No, tell me that.
So I worked security for a while, and inevitably, companies would get tired of paying us for our services because nothing was happening.
Yeah.
So they would fire us.
Yeah.
And then they would try to put in-house security in there, and suddenly they were getting in trouble, and they would have to call us back.
Okay. Let's having that taken care of. Now, it's interesting because police are focusing on the notorious group of English-speaking hackers known as Scattered Spider. The same group that's famous for taking down the Las Vegas Harrah's casino chain last year, which stopped the Venetian and Caesar hotels for weeks. So this group is all about causing chaos, I guess is what you could say Scattered Spider is, this hacking group. And they are doing the same thing to this large clothing retailer. But the moral of the story is if you have IT security that's doing a good job locally, probably don't fire them for the cheapest bid that comes across because you get what you pay for.
Well, I guess we'll see what's going to happen on the national scale here.
That's right. All right. Well, when we return, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we're going to head out to our Nathan Nugget that is going to pick up on our story from last week. You're definitely going to want to listen to this. We'll see you after this break.
How to see a man about a dog. It combines darkly comic short stories, powerful poems, and pulp fiction prose to create a heartbreaking and hilarious journey readers will not soon forget. Read How to See a Man About a Dog, Collected Writings, for free with Kindle Unlimited. Ebook available on Kindle, print copies available on Amazon The Bookpository, and more.
This is your Nugget of the Week.
All right, we're gonna go back to a story we talked about last week on our show regarding Coinbase. Now, Coinbase did something a little bit unique here, right? So instead of paying their
issued a
ransomware,
bounty, man.
So instead, they were compromised, and what they said, instead of paying the $20 million in the compromise, they put that out on the dark web and said that if you find the people that actually did this, we will give you $20 million as a bounty, or as a kind of like a wanted dead or alive type of poster that you would put up back in the old 1800s Western type of deal. Coinbase decided to do this. Now, the attacker sent their email on May 11th attempting to extort $20 million in exchange for not releasing the stolen information online. However, the crypto exchange said it would not pay the ransom, but would establish a $20 million reward fund for tips that could lead to finding the attackers who coordinated this attack and bring them to justice. It's been reported on the dark websites, many of them, that the group has been found and turned into Coinbase for the reward. So it worked. So this is what happened. They put the bounty out. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of people out there to decide to tattle, because everybody's going to tell about something if they have a chance to, and make $20 million. Right? There you go. Well, Coinbase is still assessing the breach's financial impact, and the number of customers who were tricked into sending funds to the attackers in the follow-up social engineering attacks are still not completely known. The company said that its resulting expense will likely be within the range of $180 million to $400 million to remedy the situation. But they've also decided to give the customers refunds. According to Coinbase, the attack was orchestrated through a network of overseas contractors and support employees who were bribed to hand over customer data. Coinbase will voluntarily reimburse retail customers who mistakenly sent funds to the scammers as a direct result of this incident prior to the dates of this post, following a review to confirm the facts, the company said. So Coinbase is giving you a refund.
Well, good for them.
Isn't that nice? A lot of these times these companies,
actually,
when this happened,
that's probably the smartest thing they could do.
Well, the only reason they're doing that is because I think they've found the corporates and were able to lock their blockchain, because they had not sold it. The company that actually stole the money and information that was trying to go against them have actually found funds from this /attacking company and are actually probably getting the funds back from it. So it's very interesting. Now, Coinbase advises customers to be cautious of scammers impersonating their employees who try to obtain funds or sensitive information like passwords or two-factor authentication codes. If approached, hang up, as Coinbase will never ask for account details. Their customer support actually kind of sucks. So they're never going to not be very proactive. They're very reactive after 3 or 4 days.
The same thing is don't click on stuff.
That's right. Like your hat says. That's right. To further boost security and defend
that to the ground
against such attacks, actively withdraw allows listings and enable two-factor authentications to be taken care of. Coinbase cares about its customers and wants to ensure that they are safe and secure. So this is, you know what? I rail on stuff like this, right? So there's still the Apple lawsuit that you can go out there and you can get money back for the devices. A lot of time the consumer gets hosed on all these sites and all these places. Coinbase is going to pay the money back that you had.
I really don't think that's the benevolence of them, because they really need to.
Okay. But how many times do companies actually do this? Very few. Never.
Yeah, very few.
Yeah.
But
so it's nice to actually see a company. So we're trying to say, you know what? We have talked about Coinbase. I don't like that they were breached, but at least they're going to pay the customers back.
So this is a rare win for them?
Yes, it's a rare win for them that they've probably found the person or the group.
I like the fact that their response was
a bounty.
That, to me, that just gets me somewhere in my deep core where I'm like, yeah, F these guys. Let's put a bounty on their heads.
And it worked. This is this should become a case study for everybody that has cybersecurity issues or something that happens. You know what?
This is something that might change the entire game. Instead of your X stock story,
Well, X-Talk is going to change the game.
I don't think it's going to change the game as much as you think it is.
I think it's going to change it.
I think this is pretty game changing. If everybody starts issuing bounties, instead of paying a ransom, that's going to have an interesting effect on the way people go about this business of hacking.
It is.
Their customer service may suffer.
they may do that. All right. Well, now let's move on to our pick of the day whiskey tasting.
And now our pick of the day for our whiskey tastings. Let's see what bubbles to the top.
Okay, reminder of today, we're drinking the Blue Spirits Distilling Company from Lake Chelan.
Okay.
Indiana distillation, classified as a rye, aged 7 months with a 91 proof, 95% rye, and 5% malted barley. Going for $58.
Okay.
What y'all think?
What do you think, Mike?
Mike?
Thumbs down for me.
Thumbs down?
Oh, well, why?
So
it's just on the left side of okay.
Just on the left side of okay.
Yeah, meaning I just don't like it enough.
do you agree with
like
Mark
it.
that it's too grained forward, sharp with a bitter finish that lingers?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to give it.
You're going to give it a thumbs up, right? Right? Yeah, you are.
I've had some really good whiskey lately. So this
Okay, so where does this fall on that?
You can't compare it to whiskeys you've had.
Well, I can because I just had like a whiskey last night.
No, you can't just say, "Well, I've been drinking a lot of good whiskey, so I'm
Nathan
gonna."
Today.
I'm going to give this a thumbs down also.
Yeah.
You want to give it a thumbs up. I watched you drink this. You were like, "Yeah, this is good stuff."
I was seeing if I could. I seen if I was able to change.
It's 50. It's a very small bottle, though.
It is. This is this has been around for a while in the Mumm cabinet. I think I'm going to probably do a bottle kill today so I can throw this away from my shelf. And
yeah, well, I told you liked it. It's a thumbs up for you.
No, it's not a thumbs up for me. I used to like it when I originally bought it, and now I don't really like it very much.
Well, you were sitting there enjoying it.
I was trying to convince you to do a thumbs up.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay. Well,
I don't know how that's going to work.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? This show has been a great show today. You got the two truths and a lie, so you're going out a winner, Mike.
I'm always a winner.
Yeah, you're always a winner.
Yeah.
Odie, thanks for filling in for Mark. Mark, we missed you.
My pleasure.
You know what? Next week we got to get you on camera. We got to get you on camera.
No, I'm happy without.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because we got a whole camera set up.
I'm pretty sure.
You're pretty sure.
I'm not as good looking as Mark.
I would disagree with that.
She can't give you those salutes with her
Yeah.
One finger salute.
She's on camera.
All right. Well, we're about out of time. We want to thank our listeners for joining the program. Listeners, we want to hear from you. Put a comment in our YouTube. We have a bunch that are now starting to do that. Makes us feel so good when we see your comments. Even if you say you don't like the show, that still makes us feel good. So just put a comment in if you like it. Thumbs up, thumbs down. We like to get the feedback. Now, you can always visit us at techtimeradio.com and click on Be a Caller to ask us a technology question in our TalkBack recording system. It was an honor to be the host of today's show. As always, remember, the science of tomorrow starts with the technology of today.
Okay.
We'll see you guys next week.
Don't click on stuff.
Is that what you're going to tell everybody?
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on Tech Time Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to techtimeradio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/techtimeradio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at Tech Time Radio, remember, Mumm's the word.